Okay. No public comment. Let's move first to the June 20 meetings minutes. Any corrections, additions, deletions?
Move approval.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Debbie, you're leading.
Next we have a question on the millage rate. And-
Oh, Mike, hey, Mike. Yeah,
Okay, Mike, you going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good morning, I'm Michael Hanson, Director of Finance. This morning, we're bringing you an action item to set a proposed millage rate for our fiscal year 2019 budget. The proposed millage rate, which is the rate which will appear in the trim notice, is the maximum rate the PSTA will levy for next fiscal year. The current PSTA millage rate is 0.75, and PSTA's millage rate is also capped at 0.75. It is estimated that maintaining the property tax rate at the current 0.75, which was presented in the draft fiscal year 2019 budget, will result in a $3.8 million increase in property tax revenue next fiscal year. Due to the reason that this increase in tax revenue is consumed by increases in line items such as diesel, fuel, DART, and health insurance premiums in our fiscal year 2019 budget, staff suggests that Planning Committee recommend to the PSTA Board of Directors that a proposed millage rate of 0.75 be approved and transmitted to the property attorney.
Okay, questions?
I have a very brief question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Very brief question is, if we hadn't had this increase, what do you suppose we could have done? Not would have done, but what could we have done? We're at 0.75. What are the steps that would have to be taken, and how would the finance, from the finance department, how would the finance committee have felt about that? I haven't been to finance committee's meetings. I'm just talking because we're planning, if we're looking way up in the future, what would we do?
I mean, I guess we would have to take steps to come up with the savings at $3.8 million in savings in some other fashion, which I assume would be reduction of service.
Reduction in service.
Reductions is the answer you're looking for, cuts.
Yeah, I'm asking for what would have been the options.
Okay, yeah, because what we did, the reason we went to I'll answer the question. The reason we went to the full 0.75 last year was because we wanted to have those funds available last year, and now fiscal year this year, we have that 3.8 million from property value increases. Those are things that we need to operate this operation. It's not a business, but it's an operation that's for the purpose of serving the community. And it was very critical that we passed that rate increase last year so that we would have those funds available. A dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow, and that's why we did that. So we did the right thing last year, and we're now in a situation where in future years we may experience a problem. We're going to have to take action on that, but it was important that we passed that last year.
What did we have to do to raise that to that 0.75? That was our limit, so
we had to have a board approval.
Or approval.
Okay, but anything above what we have now is going to require some legislative approval.
Correct.
Okay, so that's where we are right now.
So I
didn't mean to interrupt you, Mike.
I know we all know that. I just want to make that perfectly clear.
Yeah,
that
I
if we don't
appreciate
want
that.
to do anything from the planning side.
It's our obligation to make this place run well.
Yeah.
And run financially successfully, so that's why we did it.
And I'm very pleased in conjunction with that how they handle the ad valorem issue that may occur. So I feel very positive how you did that. So.
Good. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Comment.
Yes, sir.
Again, I think for the record, just so the public that's paying attention to these things, we have what year is our deficit start? 2021? Is that what it's projected?
2022.
Yeah, 2022.
2022. So, bringing in these additional revenues now allows us to lessen the impact of those deficits we know are coming, since we can't raise the rate anymore. So I know a lot of folks, when they look at these things, they look at current year operations only and say, what do you need to run now? That's what it should be set at. And I think it makes smart, especially from a planning committee side, to be looking at our longer term budget and making sure that within the revenue sources we have, we're maximizing those revenues to keep a sound fiscal outlook.
Plus the homestead exemption vote is going to have a hit within that time frame.
A major.
Yeah.
It may.
It may have a hit,
Well,
but we're assuming,
where the tax appraiser has done a good job of putting the software on the system that everyone can check and see what their increase in deduction or no increase in deduction is. So we have to do a good job of educating people to get on there and make sure that they realize that it may not benefit them to vote for that, but it is going to be a potential issue. Okay. Any other questions on that item? For some reason, it's not on the website, it's only in the written document here. Anything you wanted to add, Debbie? To that? Mike did a good job. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Move approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. And that'll go on as an action item as well.
yeah, and just if you're, for those at home, or
Playing along.
playing along, our budget hearings are set for Wednesday, September 12th, and the second one is our regular board meeting on September 26th is moved to the 6 p.m. time frame. That's the one meeting a year that's held in the evening. So that's when the budget will ultimately be approved, September 26th. And hopefully diesel fuel prices will go down massively by then.
All right. Anything else? Okay. So future meeting topics.
Oh, well, I wanted to, Mary Ann passed this out, which I think some of you have already RSVP'd that you are going, so thank you for that. But I think as was reported last month at the PSTA meeting, and so you know, T-BARTA has approved a contract with PSTA to provide financial and other assistance to T-BARTA in the interim period to get their financial house in order and search for a new executive director and get them going. And this forum is being ostensibly spearheaded by T-BARTA. This is a T-BARTA forum that's being put on at the Marriott at the airport on Friday. And Senator Galvano, who is the incoming Senate President of the Florida Senate, is the keynote speaker for it. The idea would be that Senator Galvano has expressed support for providing ongoing funding for T-BARTA in the future. We are getting them set up to draw down substantial grants, but most of those are one-time sources of revenue, so sort of a bridge until hopefully the state legislature gets them set up for the long haul. But that should be an interesting session on Friday.
Quick question. Wasn't there another transportation related, it was mentioned at the board meeting last month, at the Epicenter?
August 27th, I think it is.
Is that-
Yeah, August 27th at 10 o'clock is another T-BARTA-led initiative at the Epicenter over here in Collaborative Labs. That is the regional MPO study, the study of consolidating the MPOs of multiple counties into one, or best practices. They're going to talk about best practices from other communities that have regional MPOs.
Okay.
That's what that's about.
I didn't recall the date. I appreciate that.
We'll get more information on that. It'll be coming out.
I would assume that they're going to have an agenda. It was actually rescheduled from a June date that conflicted with Commissioner Maroney's services. So I don't know if an agenda was already sent out back then or not.
Okay. All right, any other future topics? Okay. Any other business? All right, this is one of the fastest planning meetings that we've had, but thank you everyone for showing up. Meeting's adjourned.
Awesome.
Charlie, thank you for coming.
Sure. Thought I could, provide the leadership needed in this, tenuous position.
All right?
It was very good that you could stand up ahead of the
Right. You're the man, Charlie.
to help decorate the room.
Next month, we'll talk about naming the millage rate, the Dave Eggers millage rate.
What's the exact name
So
of
you
it?
don't have to worry about it, we got it covered. Oh,
Oh, well.
All I have to do is extra hours.
Yeah, right.
Go loiter or something like that.
It's called T-Barda Regional Transportation Leadership Workshop Number 2. I'm like,
Well, I'm sure you're excited for the title.
If you missed the first one, you gotta go watch the video.
Oh,
It's,
we've got.
You
Was there-
won't understand the sequel if you don't watch the first one.
Was there a first one?
Yeah, there was.
September 20th.
About a year or so ago. They had their first regional meeting. There were breakout sessions.
Oh,
they were
yeah,
talking about
collaborative lab?
Yeah,
Yeah,
collaborative
yeah,
lab.
yeah.
I remember.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you've been to a lot of these things, the acronyms all start to blend together. They all start with T. It's great.
And then
Yeah.
August 26th.
Well, and there was a concerted effort for this thing on Friday to make it different, to make the, it different and have different people than normally, because preaching
What did we
requires
use for
all these
fuel?
T meetings,
$2.30.
So Gloria, the chair of our track committee, there's gonna be a whole session basically like on users of transit, which is kind of.
173 and
Senator Galvino,
How are we doing?
is a little bit different, I guess, for people to understand,
Well, unfortunately, you can't
Because we're renting
force
up,
people to be interested in something.
our buses are.
And they usually aren't
100
interested
miles
until it
per
crosses
gallon.
their interests, right? They-
Right.
It goes
And
against
the
what they're
cost
doing
is
or
what we
wanting.
also locked in.
That's
all
down
the
to you guys.
general costs.
Right.
It's good for everyone.
Kids
We did
okay?
not.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay?
Right.